This early morning, let's explore the 30th verse of the Song of Enlightenment, and then meditate. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. Welcome to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is brought to you by the generous folks who are supporting me through Patreon for as little as the cost of 1 cup of coffee a month. This morning, we could chant and meditate and enjoy a lesson or two, but first, if you love Star Wars and you wish to meditate as profoundly as Qui-Gon Jinn on Naboo, be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell. The moment you have a question about Buddhist meditation or Buddhist philosophy or how to apply them to your life, write a detailed and specific question in the chat window on the right-hand side of the screen. So I think it would be easier for you to chant along with me if I added a few marks. There are many types of Buddhist chants. My personal nickname for this chant is the bookend chant. And we said the basic rule is part 1, recited in a monotone. Part 2, the exception to that rule is the first and the second to the last syllable. Oopsie, which is why I've marked them, which is why I've made the vowel that is central to the first and last syllable bold and accented, just to make chanting easier. Because I know when I was first learning chanting, I was working with unmarked text, and it just kind of felt elitist and yucky. Okay, so if you've just joined, welcome. When you have a question about Buddhist meditation, type that question, or Buddhist philosophy, type that question in the chat window. So, here we go. With universal emptiness, they dismiss the laws of karma. Such recklessness is sure to invite misfortune. Giving up existence for emptiness is the same as jumping into a fire to escape a flood. Actions driven by either a dread of punishment or a desire for reward are only an analog of ethics and a derangement of mindfulness. When intellectual grasping at the treatise of emptiness masquerades as wisdom, the pseudo-intellectual strive to give license to the cruelty. However, a truly liberating experience of both awareness and release frees us from the pettiness of our fearful amygdala, returning us to the homeostasis of our anterior singular gyrus's highest love, spontaneous and uncontrived. Flowing from centered spontaneity, our kindness is our ethics. Now, if any of that was opaque, if I have too close a relationship with my thesaurus, please type your question in the chat window. Today's practice text is Secular Meditations of Loving Kindness, True Knowledge, and Liberation, which is based on my adaptations of the instructions found in the Anapanasati and Metta Suttas. This text contains 24 tried and true ancient meditations. But 24 can feel overwhelming to beings armed with only 5 digits per hand. So it may be easier to think of it as simply 6 sets of 4 exercises each. During that first set, we're going to start by contemplating love from the perspective of the 4 bases of mindfulness. That first base is circumstantial. So we're going to lovingly wish very good fortune for all beings. Here's the trick. The word that is in italics, we silently and mentally recite during the in-breath. The word that is bold, we silently and mentally recite during the out-breath. So our job is not to enter a trance or work actual magic or believe or emote. Our job is simple. We're going to silently and mentally recite 2 words in harmony with our inhalation and our exhalation and our relaxation. Doing so for just a few minutes will help to strengthen the neural pathways responsible for empathy. Perhaps this is the reason that a metaphysical rule of thumb is the following. Words guide intention. Intention guides mind. Please please assume a posture that is sustainable. We switch gears from the circumstantial to the physical and wish optimal health for all beings everywhere. Yes, even the ones that vote the way we wish they wouldn't. So it's sort of like we're at a table, and someone asks us to pass the mustard. So we pick up the mustard and we hand it to them. 'We switch gears from the physical to the interpersonal and wish that all relationships of all beings, be they professional or personal or platonic or intimate, be loving. "50% of the Eightfold Path pertains to loving kindness." We switch gears from the interpersonal to the mental and wish greater wisdom for all beings. Having completed our first set of 4 exercises, we turn now to our second set. The common denominator, just as the common denominator of the first set was love, the common denominator of the second set is the quest to center our bodies as a preliminary practice. As we breathe in, we could silently and mentally recite the verb, breathe. As we exhale, we could silently and mentally recite the adjective, long. Now here's the cool thing. We don't have to force our exhalations to be lengthy, for they are already wired to be that way. All we have to do is step out of our own way and basically use these words to align our intention with our pre-existing factory installed programming. For our second of 4 exercises, during the inhalation, we're going to silently and mentally recite the adjective short. During the exhalation, we're going to silently and mentally recite the noun breath. And doing so, we will discover how a short inhalation can be invigorating. And we'll also discover how it is already part of our fundamental wiring that the in-breath is always shorter than the out-breath. We don't have to force it. We just set space to that that's a possibility and watch what happens in our bodies. For our third of 4 exercises, during the inhalation, we're going to silently and mentally recite the verb taste, which functions as a metaphor of noticing. During our exhalation, we're going to silently and mentally recite the noun form, which functions as a synonym of body. So this is when things get really interesting. Every time we inhale, whether we know it or not, we are accessing our sympathetic nervous system, which is already wired for perceptual acuity. To notice, in this case, to notice our bodies vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly. But we can notice all sorts of things, the external and the internal, the physical and the mental, the pleasurable and the painful, the interesting and the boring, the glorious and the grotesque. Sometimes these things that we notice will be in the background, sometimes will be in the foreground. It's not our job to grab onto some or shove others away, but rather to sit back and enjoy the ride. If you are late for work and you gotta go, use one of the links in the description area below the video to get to my download page and download the latest version of this. That way you can practice during your lunch break if you wish. Or during your lunch break, you could always use your smartphone and plug into one of my older live streams, whichever floats your boat. And I intend to update my download page in about an hour or so. We come to the fourth exercise of the second set. During the inhalation, we can silently and mentally recite the noun form. And this time, during the exhalation, we could silently and mentally recite the verb ease. Ease is a monosyllabic synonym of relax. But here's the most exciting thing. Every time we exhale, whether we know it or not, we are accessing our parasympathetic nervous system, which has evolved for both physical relaxation and mental release. So here's the cool. This elusive relaxation, we don't have to force it. It's already latent. The mechanism is already present. All we got to do is get out of our own way by aligning our intention with our genetically programmed, with our genetic programming. And now we enter the third set of 4 exercises. The common denominator for this fourth set is the centering of our feelings and the beginning of the classic jhana training, where we will taste of blissful joy through a technique as simple as silently and mentally reciting the verb grin during our inhalation in a manner that wherein we'll gently smile from the corners of our mouth, the apples of our cheeks, and the crow's feet of our eyes. The object of our grin, I should say, the object of our grin will be our own body. Flaws and strengths alike, whatever comes to mind. There have been some people who say that the more frequently they do this exercise, the more it feels like psychic cappuccino. Beware of elitist teachers who tell you this takes years to accomplish. Remember, the Buddha taught full enlightenment could be mastered in a week. Or, to put it more accurately, anywhere from 7 years down to just 7 days. So beware of those who tell you it takes 3 great aeons. Our second exercise of this set will allow us to taste the second jhana's peaceful joy, as this time we grin not to our form but to our thoughts, recognizing that thought is more of an umbrella term for our emotions, intentions, cognitions, memories, and imaginings. Or in other words, our brains, our minds' coarser functions. So we don't have to analyze, we don't have to label. If we just play with these 2 words and silently and mentally in harmony with our inhalation and our exhalation and our relaxation, everything will take care of itself. We can taste now of the third jhana's contentment as easily as silently and mentally reciting the verb feel during our inhalation, which functions as a metaphor of noticing, and continuing to silently and mentally recite the noun thoughts during our exhalation, remembering that thoughts is an umbrella term for our emotions, intentions, cognitions, memories, and imaginings. We can now, in a moment or two, we could taste of the fourth jhana's neutrality. As during our inhalation, we silently and mentally recite the noun thoughts, and during our exhalation, we return to the verb ease. Having completed our third of 6 sets of 4 exercises, we turn now to our fourth set of 4 exercises. The common denominator of this set is going to be the centering, not of our feelings, but of our minds. We get to taste of the 5th jhana's sphere of infinite spaciousness, which is a very grandiose way of saying the opposite of feeling compressed, or decompressed, if you wish. During the inhalation, we get to silently and mentally recite the verb watch, which is another metaphor of noticing. During our exhalation, we're going to play with a new noun. We're going to play with the noun mind. And in this case, mind is an umbrella term for our mind's subtle perceptions of seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, smelling, and the like. So we're not saying one set of functions is superior or inferior to another. We're just exploring different facets of the mind in a way that is therapeutic. So this is not concentration, this is not control. While we're playing with these words, we can notice a whole bunch of things. It doesn't matter. We don't ignore, we don't chase, we don't label. We let the mind do what it do. We're like a theater patron who recognizes that we are not the playwright, nor the director, nor the thespian. We're just a member of the audience enjoying the show. We now may taste of the 6th jhana's experience of awareness. So not only are we feeling physically decompressed, but perceptually decompressed as well. During our inhalation, we could silently and mentally recite the verb grin, referring to a gentle smile involving the corners of our mouth the apples of our cheeks, as well as the crow's feet of our eyes, which is directed towards our mind, the umbrella term for seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, smelling, and the like. We now taste of the seventh jhana's sphere of non-graspability. This means we feel like that which we've been habitually grasping all our life begins to feel a lot less possible, a little bit more futile. During our inhalation, we can silently and mentally recite the noun mind. During our exhalation, we can silently and mentally recite the verb ease. Remember, ease is a synonym for relax. We taste now of the eighth jhana's sphere of acquiescent non-labeling, experiencing the liberation of balance and the transcendence of our controlling tendencies. We do this during the inhalation by silently and mentally reciting the noun mind, and during the exhalation by silently and mentally reciting the verb free. We come now to the fifth set of 4 exercises, wherein we contemplate impermanence, which is terribly handy. The Buddha explained that after the monsoon there is mud, and in the mud the largest footprint is that left by the elephant. Similarly, there are many things we could contemplate, but nothing makes the impression no impression by any subject rivals that made by impermanence. We're going to play with a series of 4 rhetorical questions. By definition, it is not our job to answer these questions, nor to strive to answer these questions, but to merely recite them silently, mentally. We come now to the subtly impermanent rhetorical question: what fade? We now explore a very subtle impermanence with the question: what cease? Within the context of impermanence, the prospect of shoving, reaching, and clinging seems lame and worthy of release. We've come to our sixth of 6 sets, where we bring the 4 bases of mindfulness into the path of kind ethics. Let us lovingly wish that each being use their intention in the kindest way. Let us use our communication, both verbal and nonverbal. Let us wish that all beings everywhere use their communication, both verbal and nonverbal, in the kindest way. If you've just joined me, welcome aboard. When you have a question about Buddhist meditation or Buddhist philosophy or how to apply them, type that question in great detail in the chat window. Let us lovingly wish that each being everywhere use their bodies in the kindest possible way. Let us conclude by lovingly wishing that each being everywhere use their circumstance in the kindest way. So what could that be like? Well, it means that instead of being a controlling Karen or a competitive Chad, that instead we choose to behave as a cooperative bodhisattva. If you feel that I have earned it, type something in the chat window, give this live stream a thumbs up, and share it on social media. In approximately 2 2/3 hours, I would very much like to return. Whoops. Okay. I would very much like to return to lead today's mid-morning meditation. And of course, if you're so inclined, your Patreon support would be very helpful. Until next we speak, may you and yours be happy and healthy. And if you are as geeky as me, this is the way.